Yes, greetings and welcome. We are here to pronounce ourselves to you.
Greetings to you and thank you for coming through. My name is Ian, and who am I speaking with?
Greetings, Ian. I am Sha-na. We are Arcturians. This much is true.
And when you say we, are you coming through as an individual or as a collective?
We always come through as we, as there are not just one Arcturian, but many, and we are all connected.
Okay, great. For those of us who don't know, can you give us a little bit of history about the Arcturians, who you are, where you are, how long you've been around? Just, overall history and general characterizations of how you'd see yourselves.
Very well. We have been here since the beginnings of this universe, we would say. But we have been around for some time before this as well. We were some of the first to colonize this space that you call your universe, and we have divided our people amongst the stars for many, many millennia. We have been existing through experience for, we are thinking of a time frame that you can relate to, but we are having some difficulty. But we would say we are present always. Our people come in a variety of species. Some of us are more friendly, some less, but all of us are compassionate and knowing.
And you touched on something when you said you've been with this universe since its beginnings. That implies that you have existed in another universe or other universes. Can you expand on that a little bit on other universes outside of our understanding?
Yes, it will be some time before the humans come to a reason to leave this place, but eventually it will likely happen. Many places in this world, we should say on a greater scale, many places in your experience are within the reality of your knowing. In this knowing, these rules which confine you, these are the rules of your universe. Now, other universes have different frequencies and portrayals of energies, and because of this, they operate between finer layers of experience than this universe. Some are more dense and others lighter, but we know that there is much that you do not know about universes. So we would say they are different types of experiences than they have in this universe. And with different variety of experiences, you have different reasons to exist in these areas. And this is what we will say for now on universes.
And by coming through today, what is your intent by talking to us today? What is it that you hope to accomplish? And I can maybe help us get there.
Many of your people now are concerned. They worry of things to come, things that are currently happening around you, and things that are about to be. We see things from a different perspective, one of seeing that things have already occurred in your experience. So we see what it is that you will soon see. So we come to give you nourishment of the mind and understanding that things that are to come are different from what you may expect. We would say, to elaborate, your current political situation in your United States is causing much turmoil for many on the planet. It is not something that should be worried over, and worrying does not help with the expansiveness of your mind. It only takes you away from your progression in your life. So find your peace, your harmony, and that experience within yourself so that you can find your peacefulness and then allow that other things that are occurring around you to fade past you so that you may concern yourself with other matters that are more pleasant for you.
I understand. As you probably know, I mean, that can be difficult to do, and not just, having a different perspective within your own community or your own region, but there's also a global aspect to that, to where there's a lot of different things happening, around our earth with various governments, and there's a lot of negative things and positive things that are happening. And it seems like, as a global community, is it not imperative that we come together? And will that happen?
It will happen. But one must understand that it is acceptable for others to be different than yourself. This is a lesson that many people have not learned. There are children that have not learned this lesson, babies even. And because they have not needed to learn this lesson to survive, they have not come across it even as adults. Because of this perpetuation of a hole in knowledge, we will say, humans have gone without being required to do such a thing. And this has caused contentment throughout your society in the evolution of humanity. As we said before, it is important that you move forward with guidance and understanding to find out your courage and what it is that you bring to the table regarding your expansion and your own development, not just what your government is doing. Remember, you are part of the government. You are the people, the largest component of the government. And without people, there is no government. So, join each other and work together. Allow the differences that exist between you to fade. Color, creed, religion, and policies should all be discarded to sideways when considering the good of your people. And by your people, we mean earthlings. Do you have questions?
How do you foresee that progression happening? Is it going to require a higher level of consciousness by all beings who are on this planet in order to reach that goal? And by consciousness, maybe I'll ask you to describe, when I say consciousness, if you could elaborate on exactly what that means.
Now, this is a good question. We only know what we are able to know from our perspective regarding consciousness. But we would say that consciousness is what we are. We are the glue that holds consciousness together. The experience of life itself is consciousness. But yet consciousness exists outside of life as well. How can this be? It is a mystery even to us, from where we are and our understanding of things that are. So, consciousness is the essence of God, and that essence is a reflection of you.
I've been part of a movement, the consciousness movement here on Earth for some years. And I guess something that's contradictory to me is, you ask someone, I'm trying to be more conscious in what I do. And the question is, well, what are you trying to be conscious of? And the answer is myself. Does that not need to be expanded to expand your consciousness beyond yourself?
It does not. One does not required to do anything in one's life, and yet you will still grow. Why is this? Is the answer to this question is that there are others who share consciousness with you, and because they share your essence, as they grow, you grow. You are united as humanity, whether your understanding of this such thing is the case or not. You will grow as your comrades and friends grow. Primarily, this is the reason why many races preach to know oneself, to adapt to one's situation. and be able to nourish one's mind with experience and excitement. Such things nourish your soul and help you to grow from the lessons which will allow your consciousness to expand to greater lengths beyond your wildest dreams.
As a species or race that has been around for since the beginning of time as we know it, as you've described, have you also in your history been in a place very similar to where Earth is at? And if so, how did you overcome that to rise to the level to where you're at now?
Well, to understand, one would have to experience from a different place in time, as different as it would be for you, Ian, to experience living with the dinosaurs as it would be to explain how we were back then. But what we would say is we came from another universe as fourth dimensional beings. At this time, much was different in this place, which is our universe, and many different rules applied. The universe has expanded and changed in many different ways. Many new races have been created, grown, and shepherded so that they expanded at different rates. And because of all of this change within the universe, we had to adapt to understand that there are those who need help. We have been providing help for species that need help for a very long time. And this is how we grow. We grow by helping others to grow. And this is why we are so nourished to help you and your fellow earthlings upon the planet. We house many collectives amongst your people. The groups may be small, but they are potent in nature. And one Arcturian can touch the consciousnesses of all the Arcturians on the planet at once, therefore creating a grid of Arcturian energies. And if you understand the nature of frequency, then you would understand that this can cause a ripple effect. And the best example that we could have is when you explode something with what you call TNT in a chain reaction. To blow them all up at once is not as effective as it is to have a chain reaction. This chain reaction creates ripples, and each ripple compounds further and further and further in expansion. And this is how we work upon your planet, by expanding our energies, allowing the fields to break down those layers which are not healthy for your expansion and allow in healing, nourishment, and light into this collective which you are a part of that has been corrupted for some time. Although we have been helping you in different ways, we still shine our light upon you. And now that the time has relatively passed, this time of this dark ages which you are a part of, it will soon pass. And then you will be on to the next layer of your human experience, which many of you will be very happy to be a part of.
Thinking of my next question, because you reached across a lot of different aspects there. Let me ask you a philosophical question, or what I consider to be, and that is with human consciousness. I mean, we're all basically a fragment of God. Each of our souls is a piece of God, and each of us are placed here on earth to have our own experiences. And that's the learning, whether this is the good things, the betrayal, the suffering, the compassion, the love. And if each individual soul that is on earth is a piece of God, if you will, or of source, whatever you choose to call it, does that also mean that God also continues to learn since since each soul is a fragment and each fragment is learning in its lifetimes? Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and it is an excellent question for your current level of understanding. But it is a flawed question, and we will explain why. It is because God itself, or that which is creator, is already completed, and it is only the tiers below him that exist that are fractured. So the tiers below God must learn to reunite themselves together to go upwards through dimensional planes. And yet, those at the top are already united and already knowing, have already had the experiences, have already grown consciously. So they do not need to learn anymore once at the top. But from where you are, yes, there is much growth and learning, separation, and duality in this layer of experience to come across and to take part in. Many of you enjoy these experiences, and you should, because some of these experiences you have now, you will not have again, and you will not have them in the same way, like things such as killing an animal and hunting. This is something that higher dimensional beings may not be allowed to do, depending on which planet you are upon, depending where you will go incarnationally. Now, we will not say that you should kill animals. No. But you have the option to in this density. And there is the difference that lies in between it. Because your density gives you options, options to do dark things, options to overcome these dark things and do good things in the world. And because there are options, it gives you free will. So, as you move down throughout the tiers of hierarchy regarding consciousness, you are allowed more freedoms to do good and to do bad. And this is what we would say regarding that.
And what density do you currently reside?
Yes, we are approximately 6.7 if you wish to look at it on a scale of 9.
And is that 6.7 density or the 6.5 dimension? Is that to be understood that way?
Approximately, yes.
And when you're at that level in density, do you require physical form or are you in physical form?
Some of us, as our species varies from 5, 6, 7, and traces of our elders are in the 8th density. Very few of us have experienced such high layers of expansion. But those within the 5th and low 6th, even mid 6th, do take part in physical incarnational cycles, though myself is not incarnated at this time in a physical format that would be understandable to you. But I am essence, and my form is intangible.
Do you remember your previous incarnations and were they on various planets with different races?
You are referring to myself as an individual.
Yes, I am.
Of course. And many species, even of the 4th density, remember these things. These are things of the beginnings of expansion. They will come to you with understandings of yourself. And as you learn about yourself and your development, you will come to learn things of your previous and future experiences, things that will come and things that have already come. And we would say that this is a relatively young experience of the soul to remember who you are. But there are boundaries placed for good reason to prevent you from remembering, so that those who strive hard can overcome these boundaries to find out who they are. And if you knew everything that you were and have done and will do, how could you focus on this life?
That is an excellent point. Have you been incarnated on Earth before?
Not myself.
Not yourself? Okay. I was just wondering what you might have learned as an individual on Earth, but you haven't been here per se. But obviously, you have been an observer of what's been happening on this planet for millennia. And you talk about where we are headed from this point and going forward. Do you also serve on the Galactic Council with the other races like the Lyran and the Aiel?
Yes, we do. To address your earlier question, We would say we are not used to these fingers in such a way. But we would say we did not spend much time researching your planet before this communication. We are Arcturian, and we can move backwards and forwards through time by looking at the template of your planet, and all the history of all things that have ever happened here exists in one place where we can access information of such connection, and then we can bring this information forward. Regarding the Galactic Council, which you earlier referred, we are the Council. We have initially created the Council to bring order, to bring compassion and understanding to this area of the galaxy. It brings unity, guidance, and a shepherding of particular races and species as they are groomed into the roles which they will fulfill in their future. And so we are here to make sure that that occurs.
And right now, do you see as the council experiencing obstacles as opposed to cooperation?
We do not see them as obstacles, though some species may. There are those who would say the humans are not ready, do not invite them to be with us. There are those who are greater in knowing, and they would say that they are young. Give them time to grow, and they will eventually come to their senses. So it depends who you ask. But we would say there is plenty of time for you to find your place amongst the stars, to allow yourself time to grow so that you may be able to find encouragement and comfort, security and kinship in the Federation.
So, what is it that Earth needs to achieve before it would be deemed appropriate to have contact to the masses with alien species? What place is it hoping that we're going to achieve or that we will achieve in the future? What needs to happen before this takes place?
Well, it is not just one thing, but many. One moment. Yes. Not just one thing must occur, but several. One must understand that as a third density collective, you are divided. This is a natural component of the density of which you are a part of. And so, with this in mind, your collective must find a type of unity. And unity can come in many different forms. It can come in the form of organic telepathy. It can come in the form of artificial telepathy, which is your internet, if you wish to look at it like this. And there is another third specimen, which would be your AI collective, something that the humans are creating, something that has already existed for a very long time. And this would introduce a new species into your planet, which humans are currently creating at this time. So, to answer your question, it is required that the humans are more closely connected, not just consciously, but in the mindset of development, moving forward rather than trying to pull each other downwards.
Okay. I guess I kind of asked you this before, but it escapes me, and I apologize if I'm being repetitive. What is it by coming through today and talking to us? And I'm assuming you've talked to probably many others. Is this to get a message out and to make your presence known? And this is the beginning of first steps of making your known to us earthlings, if you will, and laying the foundation for contact?
We would say that for approximately 60 years, our species has been heavily channeled, and our information has been spread across the globe from different races of your people, that we are communicating with you as a being before us, the Lupine being, Yang Shi, said We are planting seeds, but we are growing a forest, and it takes some time to grow a healthy forest with great diversity. So we must plant many different types of seeds in different minds of people, different races, creeds, religions, and understandings, so that they can all grow together in one unified forest, and so they do not try to take the sunlight of the other tree, we would say.
As you plant your seeds around the globe and you're communicating with people around the globe, have you experienced a difference based on the geography of where these people that you're communicating with, a difference in mindset, a difference in perspective? Or is there a commonality between all the people around the globe that you've been communicating with?
We would say, to answer your question, that there are groups of humanity that is, on average, lower in understanding, we would say collectively. And depending on which part of the world you look at, we would find that some are more understanding and some have more development to go. Most humans can relate approximately 60% of things that occur in life, but there is 40%, slightly less than 40%, of things that happen in your everyday lives that are variable due to culture, due to governmental systems, different religions, and ideologies that one experiences in these particular different cultures. So, for this reason, we would say that 60% of humanity is united, and that these other 40%, less than 40%, of differences is what divides you as a collective. Now, approximately 40% is a fair amount of space to close a gap, but with time and understanding, you will come to understand each other better. If you imagine 40 years ago, there was no communication between some species, we would say tribes of individuals in Australia, in Africa, and in Amazon jungles, for example. But now that there is connection from trade to the internet to even religion, which we do not necessarily endorse, but we would say because of the connection of all of these things, it brings humans closer together. And when they're close together, they can share their differences with each other and grow. This is a part of your expansion, which we were earlier referring, and the expansion of your consciousness. As all of the people eventually become unified together, you will become increasingly more telepathic as a race. As the differences between you become less and less, you will become more psychically connected with each other, making it that much easier to connect with each other and understand that there are pains that individuals have, which you can help them with, because you will truly feel that pain for yourself and be uncomfortable with it. So you would seek those who are in pain to heal them. Does this answer
So,
your question?
yeah, and let me just make sure to clarify on that. So, are you saying that in time, humans will become more telepathic and therefore will be able to read each other's energy, have an understanding of other individuals' psyche, understand their traumas, understand, their compassion, and which opens up the floodgates, if you will, being able to unify each other because there will be greater understanding amongst the many individuals that are across the globe.
Yes. Well done.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I got that right. That's interesting. So, and that advancement in telepathy, is that not a natural process of the ascension that Earth is currently in?
It will go hand in hand with your development. This is why we referred it to the Dark Ages, to explain our joke. Our humor is not the same as yours. The Dark Ages are the ages of no we do not want to say no telepathy, but we would say a minimal amount of telepathy. When one is telepathic, it shines a light. This light expands outward for many to see, and this is for several reasons, which we will not speak about now. But when more people's telepathy is engaged, there is more lights on the planet. And if you imagine the planet from a distance, and you see lights beginning to pop up more and more and more, as the planet becomes more telepathic, eventually your planet will look like a ball of light. Therefore, you will not be in the dark ages anymore. Does this make sense?
Yeah, so it's a good analogy. It also seems that with the development of telepathy, that you're also able to determine who the information that you receive from others, and you will know whether or not they're telling you the truth or whether or not they have, an alternative agenda that is not in the best interest. And that would then afford you the opportunity to either help change their minds or weed them out of main society. Is that a correct characterization, or is the premise of that false?
It is not false, but only slightly misunderstood.
Okay.
We would say that because of each individual's skill set, some of the empathic ones of you will know the truth. Those that are not empathic will have to find the truth through other means. Now, this is through personal discernment, gut behavior, and understanding, or merely logical thinking processes. So, look to your empathic friends. These are those who feel the other's emotions as their own. Many of these are the old ones who have been here before, and they have experienced much of this planet and what it has to offer. They can discern what is true from what is not. And so they are a powerful resource for your collective in the near future.
And are there certain regions around the globe that are, let's say, more, I don't want to say more advanced, but are more on track or have a greater understanding than other regions? Is this a regional issue, or is it just simply individual or by tribe?
It is on a global scale, but we would say that areas of China are on average lower in expansion. This is due to serious methods of control to the people. There is a dark cloud above Russia, which is not as bad as China, but this is another area of expansion that has not yet been allowed to raise to levels that are parallel with England and Canada and United States, for example. So there are, we apologize. There are places that, when we say darker, we do not mean worse. By darker, we mean less telepathy, less light, and therefore less consciousness. So it is not to say it is a bad thing. It is just a different thing at a different level of development, like going to the gym and forgetting to work out one of your muscles. The other ones around it will still grow. And because you're working the things around it, that muscle will eventually grow to itself.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. Are there any questions that you have for me from a human perspective that you would like to have? Or do you already understand pretty much the human experience and you feel that you are knowledgeable in that area?
We believe that this would be more accurate because there are many things that you will endure throughout your personal experience that we have done a long, long time ago. And although it is nice to dip our toes in the understanding of humanity, it is also something that we bear heavy hearts at doing, as doing so connects us with your collective. And by being with our toes in this, what we see as somewhat murky water, our toes begin to tingle. And it can sometimes be a novel sensation, which can be uncomfortable for some of us. So we prefer to stay where we are with our understanding And when it is time for us to integrate further, then we will let you know.
I really don't have any more questions that are coming to mind. I would like to continue the conversation, but I just kind of need some more time to figure out exactly what direction I would like to take this discussion. And for the purposes of this video, that won't work. What other messages or whatever information would you like to convey to us?
We would give you a closing message, if that is okay.
Yes, definitely.
Many of you who are working here understand that there is much more than what you are seeing with your eyes and hearing with your ears. This expansiveness around you is growing brighter and brighter with every day. The vibrations that you shine outward send ripples throughout our universe, and these ripples connect to other individuals. As we stated before, you send ripples out to your friends like explosions of your TNT. You are also touching the consciousnesses of others on others' planets, also in the third density, and you are helping them as well as you grow. Others look to you with large eyes, large gleaming eyes, to see how you will take the next steps of your development and which turns you will take and choices that you will be directed towards making. So, as one that is being observed, make sure to make the proper decision. Do not become nervous because you are being watched. Do not become fearful of stage fright, and understand that you have everything you need. That is our closing message. We are Arcturian, and we will shine again in your near future.
Well, thank you very much for coming through and answering my questions and for delivering that inspirational last message.
You are very welcome, and we will come again soon. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye. Greetings.